I'm still faster than you.
But I have armor.
How's it going, everyone? Jonathan here with Boston Collectors, and today's review is dedicated to Cad Bane, as seen in the book of Boba Fett. There are a few nods to the Clone Wars by way of accessories for the deluxe version, but more on that later. The art box is a Hot Toys standard for their Star Wars releases, so there isn't anything groundbreaking here. Although there is a bit of extra height to the packaging to compensate for Cad's taller stature. The prototype of the figure can be seen around the entirety of the art box, including the art insert. I can't really say why it is, but it is. With the box out of the way, we can go ahead and begin. If you like what you see, consider subscribing and liking for more. Let's continue. Out of the box, Cad's equipped with a pair of neutral hands. These are all new molds, and I'm just happy to see every gesture paired up. These can be used in a variety of poses, including holding the felt hat included inside. Mine came in slightly deformed, but nothing too bad. It's got a nice look to it, but it is a lint magnet. For a nice fit around the portrait, the inside of the hat is lined with foam. If the deformity bothers me later, I'll consider ironing or steaming it, but I am wary of it. Continuing on, we have a pair of trigger gestures for the LL30 blasters. Like the majority of everything included, these are all new molds. The paint application isn't exactly a brand new silver-like appearance, but used and maintained, if you will. I do like the way his hands grip the blasters though. It isn't in a standard gripping fashion. If he isn't using the blasters in your display, you'll have to fight them in the holsters a bit. And for the final pair of hands, we have fists. Cad Bane used both fan braces to shoot fire at Boba, but Hot Toys' instructions show using the flame effect for the right arm. There is a slow, subtle drop during the pose that might be a bit annoying for some. I don't plan on using this accessory, so it doesn't bother me. It looks pretty cool for what it's worth. I like the billowing effect they've had prior to this version, but both have a cool effect to them. There's a smaller antenna piece in the box that you'll want to be careful with. You only get one, so again, be cautious. On the right side of the breathing apparatus, there's an insertion point. Plug it in and use a small amount of force so that it doesn't pop back out. When you're done, this part of the figure is complete. The breathing tubes are malleable, so if you plan to adjust your pose, you're safe. A lot of us are familiar with this base, and if you aren't, you may or may not like it. For this release though, it actually makes the most sense. The usual identifiers are all here. And with this release, we have a flight pole and a waist clamp. We don't have a crotch grabber, unfortunately. But there's a reason for the flight pole. On the outer portion of both boots, you can attach the rocket thrusters and the included effects to simulate flight. For the final accessory, we have Cad Bane's butler droid Toto 360. Well, techno service droid, but not to Bane. He's an awesome piece to have, and he comes with his own stand for flight and rolling across terrain. After installing the port, the projection from the stand is then plugged into Toto. As mentioned earlier, this is great for simulating flight, including plugging the smaller effects beneath his feet. The stand can articulate if you need it to at the top, but it is rather stiff. I can't say I'd ever use these pieces because they're a bit too fragile to change out for me, but they are cool to have. And now that we're all set, strike a pose. Out of the box, Cad's pre-equipped with his frowning expression. Hot Toys went all out for this one because each individual expression is stellar. From the musculature in his face to the age line and scars, they really outdid themselves. They even added the starburst-like effect for his eyes. And as for controlled lighting with his hat included, we get to see a lot more detail in his face. The protective piece over the majority of his head is speckled in paint as debris. Not to mention featuring the metal plate as seen in the Clone Wars from the unaired scene between him and Boba. The hoses might pop out every once in a while posing, but it's nothing to slip them back in. Without the hat on, you can see more detail in each faceplate. But for me, he'll always have it on and where you can barely see his eyes, if not in the shadows. Swapping the pieces aren't too hard to deal with, but what is hard to deal with is Hot Toys' glue. I had to fix them all myself since the magnets weren't attached to them. Except for this one. Other than that issue, it's easy. And here's a quick look at all three expressions. This particular look is better used for action poses. The overall look of his teeth and frown truly encapsulate what we know about Cad Bane's demeanor. Under the same type of controlled lighting conditions, his age lines and scars are a bit more pronounced from shouting. It's a great looking expression with a lot of detail, but my favorite one is this one. It's more snarl mid-sentence like, and more than likely the one he'll always have in my display. For those of you with an extra toothpick from Crosshair's release, you can finagle it through his teeth on either side of his portrait. He didn't come with one unfortunately, but I am glad they work with him. And he'll have it in for my display as well. There's quite a bit going on with Cad, so let's just dive right into it. The tread beneath his feet are detailed and remind me of Star Wars' take on a Western pair of Air Force Ones. They're molded in plastic and have just enough wiggle room for a small amount of ankle pivot. And yes, the thrusters are staying on for me. The holsters appear to be molded in pleather with a mixture of plastic. I prefer this, especially considering how much of a hassle it is to slot his blasters in. As for the rest of his belt, it appears pleather to me. The official Hot Toys website doesn't share anything outside what we can speculate, but it doesn't feel like genuine leather. Regardless of that, the detailing here looks pretty solid. It might not have the same weathering as the prototype, but I like the way it turned out, personally. The bullets on his belt are removable if you'd like to pose him with one. It takes a bit of a fight, but it is easy to slot back in later if you change your mind. The greeblies found throughout his costume add visual interest outside of all the brown that can get old. This includes the breathing apparatus and breathing tubes, which span from the back of the figure to the front. If you're a bit skeptical about overextending on your pose, you can detach this piece altogether. It's just velcroed on. The van braces are a bit punchy in color and they appear brand new rather than worn and used. The greeblies are cool to see up close, but I did find it interesting that the fire is shooting out of nothing. The hose appear to be at the bottom, but this isn't on Hot Toys since Disney made the design. It's situated this way on both sides. It's not an issue, but more of a why. Cad's capable of a lot of different poses, more than I thought he'd be, to be fair. The only thing holding him back is my fear of messing up the pleather holsters. You'd have to take care in making sure they aren't stressed if you choose to have him pose dynamically. Other than that, brilliant piece overall. In closing, this release exceeded my expectations. While there are a few changes that I hated to see thrown out, like the wired coat and subtle weathering, the overall experience of unboxing this piece was great. Including 3 faceplates for him was a genius move, and it felt like the best approach for collectors who would like to pose him however they choose. This for me was one of the best unboxing experiences in a while. We were given pairs of hands with all new molds, faceplates, Clone Wars accessories, and a great range of articulation for posing. Bane's rating for me is one of the highest since the Death Watch Mandalorian release, at a 9 out of 10. My gripes are extremely minor enough to say it wasn't a perfect release though. The weathering in the prototype would have given it a full 10 out of 10, regardless of the wiring in the coat. It's just a bit hard to believe, and the van braces appear more toy-like versus the weathered look in the show. And the glue for the magnets also brought it down for me. Outside of that, I'm just glad to have him in the display posed up with the rest of my figures. He looks phenomenal. Help us out by liking this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel for more, and as always, it doesn't matter what we rate the figure. If you like it, we love it. This is Jonathan with Boston Collectors, and we'll catch you next time.